Hello, my friends. My name is Darren Gerdes. This is the three big stories for today. So, the big story, the overarching story, is that the Ukrainians are on the back foot right now because they don't have the artillery. So here's story number one. Ukraine to get 155 millimeter artillery shells from a Czech-led effort. This has been ongoing or been talked about for a few days, but they're making some progress. It's an international effort to forage Allied stockpiles. U.S. efforts seem to be hung up in Congress. So until the U.S. gets itself together, the Europeans are stepping up. Now, the Europeans were supposed to deliver 1,000,000 artillery shells, and they haven't. And the reason that they haven't is because part of that agreement was that it was going to be made within the EU to keep the money in the EU. The Czechs now are working to get this from anywhere just to get it on the battlefield. Ukraine's military is set to receive the first of what may be hundreds of thousands of 155 millimeter artillery shells as part of an international effort to find it wherever they can. Ukraine could see the first shells arrive within weeks. They need it desperately. This is why they had to withdraw from Avdiivka. A number of European countries are part of the initiative. Czech President Petr Pavel said at the Munich Security Conference last month that his country had identified 500,000 155 meter and 300,000 rounds of 122. All they need is the money to be available. Now, with that, the Netherlands is stepping up in a big way. The Netherlands will transfer 22 patrol boats, as well as 3 combat boats, 4 purchase radars, 9 howitzers, which will provide additional to what above and beyond what they've already donated. And he's also working with the Czech initiative to purchase this 800,000 rounds of ammunition of the artillery shells. He also said that the Dutch authorities are working on getting the F-16s as quickly as they can into Ukraine. So well done, Dutch Prime Minister Mark Rutte. Next story, I saw this on Twitter and I thought, wow, that's really interesting. Let's follow this up. This is in the Kyiv Independent. So the minister says that drone education programs are to be introduced in Ukrainian schools. And it's only going to be in 7 vocational schools immediately, a commercial drone education program. But once they get it sorted out, they can expand it to many, many other schools. And this is going to be key to Ukrainian success. These drones are used for sowing, rescue operations, demining, the minister added. They help assess the damage from combat actions, and journalists use them to film the war. The plan is to extend the number of vocational schools participating in the program and improve an educational standard, creating opportunity to prepare pupils for a future career in this area. And in the meantime, they really need them in the war effort. So this is a great story. Okay, last story. You know that it was Navalny's funeral today. I talked about it this morning. A woman at Navalny's funeral in Moscow said one sacrificed himself to save the country. That's Navalny. The other sacrificed the country to save himself. And that's a comparison of Putin and Navalny. Now, just a little more on that theme. Russians were chanting, "Ukrainians are good people," at Navalny's funeral. Now, that's really interesting because Navalny wasn't about, pro-Ukraine, but he was anti-Putin. But this is the sentiment that the people that came out, that flocked a kilometer-long line to see Navalny's funeral, this is what the people's sentiment was in Russia. And so it's very dangerous for Putin. Here we are, Julia Davis said, as I always emphasize, when the Russian propagandists are talking, they're often laying the groundwork for what the Kremlin is contemplating. And here's the headline: Roman Golovanov urged authorities to arrest any attendees at Alexei Navalny's funeral unless they can prove to be relatives of the deceased. That's going to be a tall order. That's all that I have. Thank you for the likes, the shares, the subscribes, and the coffees, and thank you for being the kind of person that cares about Ukraine.